Attorneys for convicted killer Alex Murdaugh say he deserves a new trial based on new evidence. Murdaugh was found guilty in March of killing his wife and son. His attorneys have scheduled a news conference tomorrow to discuss their motion for a new trial, though they haven't revealed anything about the evidence they claim to have. Joining us now is Michigan Circuit Court Judge Rosemarie Aquilina. Judge, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So what type of evidence could lead to a new trial here?
We're looking at a situation where evidence that's found has to be material making a fact more or less likely that was presented at trial. There may have been evidence tampering. There's new evidence that was found that could not have been found prior. It could be that DNA of a surprise person was found and that just came to light. It could be that there was some juror tampering and improper instruction. They have to have something that materially changes or could materially change the outcome. And it could be just about anything, including misconduct of the prosecutor, the attorneys, the judge, the jurors. It's a mixed bag. They're making this request, I think, prior to the Court of Appeals hearing it. I think they made a request at the Court of Appeals for an appeal. However, now they're asking the judge to have a new trial. So it's a unique move, but it's not unheard of.
What do you make of his attorneys holding a televised news conference about their quest for a new trial? Do you think they'll reveal any evidence or any new details there?
I don't think they're going to get too detailed, because if they're granted a new trial, remember, they have to get a clean jury. So I think that would be a really inappropriate and stupid move. I think they're going to give us a taste of it. And it is not a surprise that it is a full-blown media event, because the trial was. And of course, they're trying to get sympathy. And I find that these kind of defendants always want control, and that's part of their control. So do we want to buy into that or not? It's really about justice or injustice.
And before you go, I'd like to ask you about the Brian Kohberger murder case in Idaho. So his attorneys fighting to keep cameras out of the trial, even claiming that during hearings, cameras have been focused on Kohberger's groin. So, Judge, how big of an impact do cameras in the courtroom have in cases like this, if any at all?
I love cameras in the courtroom because I think it's the people's right to know, and that's our Constitution. We want to be in that courtroom, and of course, not everybody fits. I think the claims of having cameras in the crotch, I think that's irresponsible journalism if that's happening. And it's really the judge who has control of that. When I have cameras in my courtroom, the media know that if they do something like that, they're out for good. And I've never had that situation. I don't even know if that's a credible claim. I think they just don't want to be under that microscope. And of course, there's always the fear that the attorneys are playing to the cameras rather than the jury and the judge and doing their job in court. I've never found that to be the case. Usually the cameras are wallpaper. We all are so focused on what we're doing, we forget the cameras are there. And I really believe that cameras should be every day in every courtroom. So maybe I'm the wrong judge to ask that question, but the cameras are there. I think they should stay, and the judge has control. So my question is, Judge, why aren't you doing your job?
All right. Judge Rosemarie Aquilina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.